A lot has happened since the last time we did a video. As you can see in the background, things look quite a bit different than they did in the background of my last video. So the biggest thing is that we are no longer in New Hampshire. We're now currently in Tennessee. So we've made a 1,000-mile relocation. I know a lot of people ask, what made us decide to do this? There's been several factors, but one of the biggest factors that been a big influence to me wanting to move to this area, and I think that same goes for our whole family, is the weather. We really love being outdoors, but we don't like temperatures that get down to 10-15 degrees below zero. Really not something we enjoy. We love being outdoors, and we would like to be outdoors more months out of the year than just maybe 5 or 6 months, and that would give us more of an opportunity to do things that we love doing. So we have relocated. We sold our property, we sold the sawmill. Don't worry, we have another one, and that will come up in a future video. You'll see what we have, so stay tuned for that. Sold the skid steer, but again, don't worry, I bought a new tractor and a mini excavator, and I will show you those also in a future video. This video I don't really want to focus on anything too specific. I just want to kind of give you an overview, let you know what we've been doing and what our plans are going forward. In December, we discussed the potential of moving to Tennessee. So about Christmas time, we drove down. I found a camper online on Facebook Marketplace and purchased it, hooked it up to this truck over here, and we drove it down to Tennessee. And we spent between Christmas and New Year's down here with a realtor looking at different pieces of land. With the way the house prices are, really didn't want to buy a house because, well, if anybody's been paying attention to the house prices, they're kind of nuts. But land has been easier to come by, and there hasn't been as much of a battle with, trying to bid with other buyers. So we decided to come down and look at land in our new camper. And so we hooked that up to the truck, drove down here to Tennessee. Like I said, we spent that whole week between Christmas and New Year's looking at different properties. We found this property here. It is a total of roughly 27 acres. So it's about 10 times the acreage we had in New Hampshire, which is really nice because we can spread ourselves out a little bit. We can decide whether we have neighbors or not. And as you can see, looking around, the only thing you really see at this point is our stuff and our building and fields of grass and trees and woods. First we looked at the property over here on this side, so right about where I'm standing, it kind of separates the two. 12-acre lot over here. I walked it, loved it, and we decided, we want to pursue that. It's a long, narrow property that goes from the road back. Then we discovered that the property next door, which is the property I'm standing on here, was also available and was about 15 acres. And since they were both for sale, we wanted to just, like I said, control whether we have neighbors or not, and thought, man, it would be really awesome to have that much space. And most of this was all farmland. We decided to look into getting both properties. We made offers, closed on these properties here the end of January. Mid to late January, we talked to a realtor up in New Hampshire and decided, at that point we were planning on moving down here, going to sell our house. So we were initially going to do for sale by owner, decided not to do that and go with the realtor. Prepped the house, and it took us about a month. Also in that period, we also purged a lot of stuff, sold a lot of things that we didn't need. There's the 24-foot cargo trailer. So we hooked this up to the truck. We filled that, brought that down, rented a storage unit, and unloaded that into the storage unit. And me and the boys have been the ones on the road and been living down here. Emma and Stacy are up in New Hampshire while Emma finishes school. We emptied the trailer on the first trip, immediately turned around, drove back. And what we did for sleeping, because we didn't want to do the trip in one day. It's about 15 to 16 hours. not including stops for gas and lunch, dinner, and that sort of thing. So we decided it would just be easier to do it in 2 days. So we usually do one day where we do, 7 to 10 hours, and another day we finish the rest. Usually stopping somewhere in Pennsylvania on our way down. So what we did is I got a cap from a friend who helped me put it on here, and we've been using this to camp out in at truck stops. We just set up some mattresses and sleeping bags and that sort of thing, and we've just been using the back of the pickup truck as a camper, hauling stuff back and forth with the trailer. We unloaded the trailer, drove back to New Hampshire, reloaded the trailer again one more time, and then me, the boys, Stacy, and Emma all drove down, because at that point it was a February vacation for school, so Emma could come down. And so we all drove down while they did an open house at our property in New Hampshire. So after Emma's vacation was up and we unloaded the cargo trailer again, 2 trips with the cargo trailer, Emma and Stacy headed back so she could continue going back to school. And by the time she started heading back, we had some offers on the property, and within a day or two we had a closing date scheduled. They headed back. They spent a few weeks in March up there until the closing, which was about, I think it was the last day of March. So me and the boys drove up there at that point while the contractor was down here working on doing all these things, running a water line in, flattening out this area for the barn. This building was not here when we got here. This was just all woods and fields, and that was it. So anything you see pretty much other than that has all been done by us since we've been here. So we got the driveway put in, we contacted 911, we got a proper address put in, the water line put in, and at that point we also had the septic system put in. Power, electricity came later, but we have that here. In the meantime, what we were doing is we're basically living at the RV park. They do month-to-month rentals at the RV park we were staying at, so we figured it would be easier to stay there than at the property, since we didn't have any plumbing, septic, and that sort of thing. And I just, wanted the kids to know, all of us, to be comfortable while we're down here doing what we need to do. So we headed back up the last week of March, met with the realtor up there, and we closed on the house up there and got that sold, and grabbed everything we could from the house, emptied it out, and closed and let the new owners take ownership of the place. And we brought back down as much as we could on that trip. After the closing, a couple weeks later, Emma had April school vacation, so they came down and spent a week with us down here. And by the time they got down here for April vacation, we had the camper already at the property, because by that point we had the septic system in, the driveway was done, and we had water. So we had basically plumbing to the camper, and a nice level spot to put it, which was down here. That's where the septic system is, over in that direction. So we brought the camper in, set it up here, and when they got here, it was about I think the same day we moved the camper here. So when they came down that trip, we were able to start living here at the property, of course in just the 24-foot camper, which you can imagine is kind of tight, but we made the best out of it, and it was basically like a long camping trip. Still kind of is like a long camping trip, but everyone loves camping, right? We didn't have electricity at that point. As you can see, we do now. But at that point, we were just using the 12 volt in the camper, and we would run a generator once a night, overnight, a 2000 watt just quiet generator, to recharge the battery in the camper, allow us to use the TV, charge our phones, and that sort of thing. So that wasn't actually that big a deal, living without electricity, just running the generator once a day. Stacy and Emma came here, they stayed for that week, and we did, just carried on with our work here, did what we could. And one thing I forgot to mention along the way, it was about maybe the first or second week of March, just my luck. I slipped in the mud and broke my ankle, and I broke it bad. I broke it so bad that they actually had to do surgery, put in screws and a metal plate in order to hold it back together. So during most of this, I was unable to walk on my own 2 feet. I had crutches, a cast, later a boot, and I got that boot off. So as you can see by the time I got this video recorded, which is now early June, I'm able to walk around again. It's still a little sore after working throughout the day, but I can get quite a bit done now. So I just wanted to add that since I hadn't mentioned it. So Stacy and Emma headed back home. The boys and I continued to do what we needed to do here. So I got the cast off April 18th and we headed back to New Hampshire again with the cargo trailer. We had a store in New Hampshire which had quite a bit of inventory in it. Hundreds of slabs and lumber boards, stuff stored in that building, tools, just a lot of stuff. Way more than enough to fill that 24-foot cargo trailer. So we got up there and we sold as much as we possibly could. Sold a bunch of wood really cheap, because by this point, having driven back and forth 1,000 miles each way, starting to get old, and I didn't want to have to come back for another load. So we went up there, filled this trailer completely, got everything out of the building we needed to get out, and closed up the shop there, handed the keys back to the owner, ended our lease, and that was only just a couple of weeks ago. So we got back from that trip, and over the past couple of weeks we've been unloading the cargo trailer, and each trip we took up, on the way back we brought another truck with us because I have 3 trucks. So that second trip, I believe it was the trip when we closed on the property, I drove the Ford down with my dump trailer hooked up to it and put as much as we can in that. Now here we are. That's kind of a rough timeline of over the last 6 months or so. We ordered the building, the contractor put the slab in. Took him a lot longer to put that slab in. He did a terrible job. I had to fix it. I still have to fix things here. So we got the building on the concrete slab. Like I said, there's still some things I have to fix, and I'll go over those things. So we got the building in place, and the purpose and the reason why we focused on getting this done before a house is because this immediately will give us a lot more room. I'll be able to bring stuff in here to work on, trucks and equipment. This is what we're calling the barn at this point. There's no electricity run to it. There's a temporary electric pole outside, but I keep a fan running in here to keep it a little bit cool and ventilated. During the day, we leave the big 10x10 door open. You might have a question about laundry. I will do another video about this, but it's something that I thought would be fun and interesting, and I saw this on the Facebook marketplace, really cheap. We picked it up for 50 bucks. But it is an old, I think 1940s Speed Queen washing machine. So with this, all you have to do is plug it into a normal 120 outlet. So before we were just running our generator, plugged it in, it would agitate the laundry, you would take it out, run it through the wringer, refill it, drain it, refill it, run it through the agitator, rinse it, and then run it through the wringer again, hang it up on a clothesline, and you're good to go. But I'll do a little bit more of a video on that at some point. One of the tasks I have to do today is actually hang up a clothesline. That pretty much covers a lot of things. We cook on our stove in our camper, as well as the grill. We got outdoor furniture to sit on if we want to eat outside. We got the table in the camper if we want to eat in there. It's just been crazy. We had a lot of stuff going on from that point where I did the last video. If you haven't already, please hit that like button in the video. It does help us out a lot on YouTube, get our videos out there. It engages with the YouTube magic algorithm and makes them put our videos out to more people, which helps us in the long term. And it helps us do more videos. If you are not subscribed and this is the first video you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. If you like any of the sort of the things that I've been talking about, the content that we're going to be doing on that, definitely subscribe. Hit the bell notification, make sure you're notified on all videos, because I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing here. There's so much. Appreciate you all guys watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming up in the future. Stay cool, stay safe, have fun. If you have any questions, let me know. But in the meantime, live your best life. Enjoy yourself. We're going to see you very soon on the next video. Later.